For the next few minutes, we're going to talk a little bit about the N4 project accounting solution, which is the module within our N4 Cloud Suite Financials that manages our costs at a detailed level, generally lower level detailed than our general ledger. Um, so I've logged in as the project manager. As a project manager within the solution, I'm brought to my project management homepage, which is going to give me some information and the ability to drill into details associated with programs and projects that I manage. So here, directly on my landing page, I can drill into information about the programs and projects that I have responsibilities for. I also, across the top, have the ability to drill into additional detail. So if I come here to my program and project list, this is where I can see by program all of the various different projects that roll up into this. So just like in the global ledger, we have the ability to roll up projects into hierarchical structures to reflect relationships between various different projects or cost elements in various programs. So if I come here to my program 20, here you can see that I've got a secondary roll-up here. I've got disaster recovery project going on, and underneath of that I have more detailed projects or cost elements within the work breakdown structure. So here I can see all of the various different information. So for this particular program, for this upgrade planning project, I can see that I have various different resources assigned to the project, and I can drill into the project itself by double-clicking. And that's going to take me into some information about this particular project. I can see that at first that it's a posting project. That means that within the solution, when I enter transactions, I can enter transactions directly to this particular project. I also can see some information like the beginning and ending date, what the project status is. Is it considered to be a capital project? Is it billable, meaning do I have a funding source or a grant that's paying for that, or perhaps interagency reimbursable agreement? If it is billable, I can override some of the default information about the billing method, some revenue recognition capabilities here. And I also can, if I am doing labor distribution, where I'm bringing in my cost from a third-party HR solution, or I can use our solution to take labor or payroll information and distribute it to the project based on various different parameters. I can look at the period of performance. This is allowing me to control by subsystem like accounts payable or purchasing what are the days, the beginning and ending days that I'm going to allow those types of transactions to be processed against my particular project. Again, I have a different view of all of the resources assigned to this particular project, location, comments, which actually also captures attachments, and then any user-defined fields that I've defined at the project or program level. As I mentioned, a project or program can be funded or multi-funded by various different internal or external funding sources. So with our solution, we consider that to be a contract, and that contract is associated at the program or project level, and it's going to say how are my internal and external funding sources funding this particular project or program. So in this case, I can see, well, for this particular program or project contract, I have $10 million. How much has been invoiced or billed to the grantor or to the other agency that's funding this particular project? How much has been invoiced and how much have I recognized? If I drill into the details of this contract, I can see, again, so a little bit more detail. What is the billing method? What is the revenue recognition method that I'm using for this? Am I budgeting for this particular revenue contract? What are the totals that I've billed? How much is the funded balance? What's the remaining balance? And if I drill into the details of this, I can see that for this particular contract that's funding my project and program, I have 3 different funding sources. So I can see that I've got a grant. In this case, I've got 2 different grants and a match associated with it. So when we, within our federal financials project, start to build out the interagency agreement functionality within the submodules, this funding source contract will be the vehicle that we use to build out that interagency agreement level of detail. So I can see how much is funded by each of the various different funding sources, how much is invoiced, etc. I also can see how this ties into vendors and on the procurement side. So for this particular program and project, I have a view here to see which contracts have been let against this particular project, what invoices have been billed out, how much receivables there are, what are my life-to-date balances associated with this particular program and project and funding source combination, as well as any other obligations in the system. At the top, you'll also see that I have the ability to drill into more detail around program and project labor, as well as program and project assets. So in one of our other videos, we talked a lot about asset accounting. One of the ways that we mentioned that you can get assets into the system is to push them from project accounting into asset accounting. So we can, based on various different rules, create our assets automatically based on costs and information that we've brought into our cost allocation functionality that's available within project accounting. I can see the balances here associated in with each of my different programs and projects. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Drill into my account balances, details associated with that, how much has been budgeted for this particular project based on these various different types of budgets that I may have at a program or a project level. And then I can see exactly how much has been spent or allocated against those particular budgets. And then in the various roles within project accounting, so if I come down here, you can see there's a project accountant, a project administrator, and even a project resource. And each of those different roles is going to have a little bit of a different view. So a project accountant, again, is going to be focused more on budgets and allocations and transactions. So here you'll see that they have the ability to do additional processing associated with a particular project. So you'll see budgets and various different reports and the ability to see some of the same areas that I was able to see as a program or project manager. So this should give you a high-level overview of the project accounting capabilities within the solution.